Tina, you see this, like what immediately comes to mind when you see Zillow finally turning a profit?
I mean, I work side by side with Zillow. I mean, I've been with Zillow since 2014. So before they were Zillow, and Realtor.com was the giant. I've watched every little move that they've made and have always been offered the opportunities at the forefront. And so we are a Zillow Flex team. And I saw their biggest push in the last 3 years or 2 years was to push their mortgage part of the business. And so their revenue right now is up, I think, 30-40% year over year. So they made another $140 million, $130 million on the mortgage side. So they are pushing that heavy. And I'll be honest, I didn't think it would work, because you look at companies like Keller Williams when they tried to do Keller Mortgage, and here you have a sales force of 175,000 agents, and Keller Mortgage flopped. I mean, it flopped because people want to use the lender that's going to bring them the brownies, the lender that's right there in-house. And so I really, as much as we wanted to help them with it, I thought it would flop. And so now it's working, and that's really where their profit is coming from that I can see. And then I read something about them partnering with Redfin and Realtor.com with the rental side of the business. Like they're doing something with rentals. So maybe there's a little profit there, but I think the biggest thing's mortgage.
So Al, to knowing the moves that people are jockeying and positioning in the industry, right? I think we'll see. Glenn said something at the Seattle rally a couple weeks ago. He said he projects two big things to happen in the next 12 months. He goes, I don't know what they're going to be. He goes, but I foresee two really big shakeups in the next 12 months. Obviously, we see what Rocket did with Redfin. Like, what are you feeling the move Zillow might make?
Man, I don't know the move Zillow. I think that, they acquired, what is it, Dotloop and Showing Time. And to be honest, other than the data plays on those, obviously they got a lot of data,
And Follow Up Boss too, right?
And Follow Up Boss too, right? So great CRM, arguably maybe one of the most darling of all CRMs right now that are out there. There's a lot of great CRMs. But what I've seen Zillow does super interesting. You guys remember back, maybe this was 10 years ago. This is when I still had my team. We were, on Zillow, paying for 5 zip codes, 6 zip codes, whatever. My rep was great. And it was funny because my rep who was selling me zip codes was a stone cold killer. You said about the builders are looking for stone cold. This guy was. And because in evidence of that, I ended up buying like 10 zip codes. This guy just, every time he got me on the phone, he closed me on another zip code. Well, he ended up leaving Zillow. I'm confident he was their number one rep. And the reason he left was he went and started a real estate team. He goes, I can close these things with my eyes closed, right? He started noticing. So what Zillow was doing was they're like, how do we get more conversion? How do we get people to stay on? Like if an agent's paying me for the zip code, how do I continue getting them to pay for the zip code? Well, let's put a group of ISAs. Let's just call the leads for them and then transfer. Remember, they were doing the live transfers. They may still be. They're still doing that.
They still do it. Yep. Depending on where, what city, what town.
Right. But this was just part of their climb toward iterating on getting to where they wanted to be as a business model. So that was their first step. Then they started discovering no matter how many leads they called and distributed, if you give a good lead to 5 bad agents, guess what? It's not going to convert. And then you're going to get these leads suck and this and that, and then people cancel, right? So then they thought like, well, what if we only gave them to the best? So they started to get real focused on we're only giving these to the best. And of course, now of course, because you're a Zillow Flex team, they switched from, what is that, Premier Agent?
Yeah, market something pricing. Yeah.
Yep.
Premier Agent. Yeah.
Now they're basically gambling. And by the way, they're not gambling because they have the data. They know how many converted and did not convert based upon whatever team it was. So they want to work with, correct me if I'm wrong, Tina, you may know this, the least amount of teams as possible, but the best in every market.
And they're right in our business with us. I mean, they're like, if you don't, every week we get reports, literally, your agent A did this, your agent B did this, turn them on, turn them off. Like our team knows, like, it's called a Zillow strike team. Like, we fired all of our agents off our original Zillow team because we just let everyone be on it. And we're like, this is a premier lead, and they want you servicing it a certain way. And if you can't service it a certain way, you're not on that team. Because think about it, wherever in our realm, we've all been in the business 20 years or more. Did the phone magically ring and a buyer was at the end going, I'd like to see this $1 million home today? Like, it's freaking rainbow bright over here. Like, that's like, come on, there's like gold at the end of the rainbow. And so I'm like, that's not reality. And so I think they're amazing leads. Yes, there's a 40% bump on them, but I told our team, I'm like, the goal is you're in front of, you've got a wide net. You're bringing in all these customers. It's a customer acquisition cost. Who cares? Because I give them 40% now. And we just closed a $5 million deal, a $4 million deal. You take that customer and you turn it into 2 or 3 deals down the, I mean, yes, please. Yes, please. And the value is the list. Like, if I'm with a company that has 225 million eyeballs a month versus homes.com that has 30 million eyeballs, I'm going to get a majority of the customers. And then that's my list that I'm growing. Another thing, guys, that I forgot that I read in an article about Zillow's being profitable. This was really cool because it's like us, like at EXP. They shifted to a remote first work model known as Cloud HQ. Did you know that?
Oh, no. Interesting.
Look at them in the cloud with us. So they're very just, well, I'm just saying they fired a bunch of people. So they want operational efficiency. So they shifted to their work model that's called Cloud HQ. So they reduced a ton of office expenses, and that's how they also improve their margins.
One thing that's interesting to think about there, back to the customer acquisition, right? Yeah. And this is where I think a lot of agents could use a little help in understanding this. And it's the 2 numbers that matter. What does it cost you to acquire that opportunity? And what is the lifetime value of that opportunity?
Exactly.
And as long as that LTV is 3 to 4 times greater than the acquisition cost, you do it all day, every day.
Yeah.
And so when you really know the math, right? And that's the thing, right? Know the math. And let's go back to, and I read something a couple of weeks ago, Al, we've all, when we really started focusing on lifetime value, and this was a big push that we brought with the NAEA days, that we got everybody thinking about, get off the transaction treadmill. It's all about LTV, lifetime value. And the book that triggered that for us was Hug Your Customer by Jack Mitchell. That was the book that triggered the way we thought about everything. And when you look at it, the math used to be 70% would say that they would use the agent again. But yet 10% did. I read something, it's about 6% actually reuse the agent again in the next transaction or refer. It's down even further. So what does that tell you about where people's focus is? And I think there's a lot of agents that are starving so bad that they need the transaction more than the buyer or seller needs it. And so that's repelling, instead of like, listen, like this one transaction, especially if I'm going to ride in this game for the next 20 years, I mean, this is only 4% of the total lifetime value, this one transaction. And you're talking about a $4 million deal, the commission on that. Just imagine if that was only 4% of the total lifetime value, just that one transaction. Like, you're going to spend that 40% on Zillow every day.
Oh yeah. And I tell our team, I'm like, the amount of leads, like we paid Zillow $1.4 million literally off the top last year. But for me, I used to spend $40,000 a month to buy the leads, and to buy the amount of leads that they give us, because we're top performers and we have good metrics. I would have to spend, I think we added up, it was like 160, 170 grand a month to buy the amount of leads. And so, yes, they're giving them to us with that cut on that, but it alleviates the stress of a team owner or any, small business to have to go and buy those really good quality leads.
It's funny you say that. I coached a team that paid $160,000 a month.
I believe it.
And you know what? They slept like a baby every night.
Yeah.
You know why? Because they knew the return was there, because they paid attention to the metrics. They knew their numbers.
Correct.
And it's an earned opportunity. The better you are, the better the opportunities you get.
And I bet you the culture of that team is really high accountability, because when a team owner's paying 160 grand, they're not letting you be willy-nilly. Where we were paying less than that, and we were a little more willy-nilly in the beginning.
There ain't no willy-nilly about it.
No, if Zillow's like, if you're gonna have our leads, that we're gifting.
There ain't no willy-nilly about it. It is a 24/7 observation is what's happening.
100%.
So
And
check this out.
it should be.